What's up? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. This is Straightforward with Ms.B, episode 68. Like we always do, relax, let's chill, grab your vices, whatever that may be, and let's get straight into it today. So, today, I know we have, first and foremost, let me just say this though. Um, Hopefully, everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. I know that I had a wonderful holiday. That's why I kind of took an extra week off. But of course, a lot has transpired that we're going to be discussing today. Of course, the Sean, Puffy, P. Diddy, Combs, and Cassie situation. That's going to be the topic of today's episode, and we definitely need to get into it. I have my thoughts on the situation, and to assist me today with getting out these thoughts and she sharing her own, I have. And you guys should be familiar with her at this point. She's been on about what, one or two previous episodes. But we have Miss Wendy M. Welcome,
Hi.
welcome, welcome.
I like the applause.
She's a she's of course my family member, my favorite cousin. However, she's very well versed and educated in the mental health space. She serves as a mental health counselor, and she services clients in Washington State as well as the state of Florida. She basically has a master's degree in counseling and psychology, specializing in addiction. Her experience includes crisis stabilization along with long term and short term, intensive outpatient substance abuse treatment, of course, with military veterans, adults, and adolescents. So we welcome her. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, the last couple of weeks we have been talking offline about this Diddy and Cassie situation. So we knew that we wanted to get into it today on the podcast. Before we begin, just know that we will not read through the entire lawsuit. However, we just want to kind of touch base on maybe the past, present, and future of this whole fiasco, and just touch base on just, the high level points of kind of what happened, what's going on, what has transpired since. So, to give people who may not be familiar, of course, Sean Combs is a music and business executive, mogul. He is a billionaire. He's African American, and he hails from New York City. He is best known for starting the Bad Boy Records label, which was kind of like their premier artists were Rest in Peace, Notorious B.I.G., Junior Mafia, Little Kim. I believe he had the opportunity to work with Jodeci, Mace, and a long list of other artists that kind of came later on in the years. But outside of music, he started the Sean John clothing brand, as well as, dived into the alcohol, liquor, spirits industry as well with Deleon. I believe he had like a sponsorship type of marketing deal with Ciroc at one point. But yeah, he has always been, as many call him, as kind of like a marketing genius, and he's very well known. He dated. Of course, he does have kids, but however, He did have a long-term relationship with a singer by the name of Cassie. Her real name, I believe, is Cassandra Ventura. And they dated for many years. Of course, there has always been numerous just kind of rumors and inside information as far as like Diddy having a harem of women. He also, at one point, dated the mother of his twins, Kim Porter, who, had an untimely death some years back. And But today we're going to be speaking about Cassie and Diddy's situation. So they were together, I believe, a total of maybe 13 years. Although there, may have been rumblings of, excuse me, of dealings going on in their relationship. No one really truly, as far as the public goes, we never really truly understand just the intense relationship that those two had. And it's very, very, unfortunate that recently information came out when she basically dropped a lawsuit kind of out of nowhere. Excuse me, a lawsuit, basically suing Diddy. I have the lawsuit here. It's a 35-page lawsuit, but again, like I stated, I'm not going to go through all of this. We're just going to highlight some things that was in this lawsuit. But apparently, for the past 6 months, according to Diddy's attorneys, Cassie has been trying to do a money grab, trying to get at least about, I believe her initial ask was $30 million from him for basically sexual assault and just some other things that happened throughout their relationship. And what she did was call his bluff. I think he kept, kind of denying it and not wanting to settle with her. So she was placed in a position to file this lawsuit, which again is, public record. So once it hit the airways, the media ate this shit up, and we were able to now learn a lot of the things that were happening during their time together, and it was not a pretty sight. So on November, I believe, I forgot what day it was, maybe the day after November 16th, I want to say. Um, Miss Cassandra Ventura, the plaintiff, it was versus Sean Combs, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Epic Records, Comb Enterprises, and some um, Doe or anonymous corporations were all named here in this lawsuit. Um, some of the things that was mentioned at a high level against, I guess, Mr. Combs was that he R-worded Miss Ventura in her own home after she tried to leave him on one occasion. He was often punched. She was often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on, resulting in numerous bruises, bursted lips, burst lips, black eyes, and bleeding. Um, on one incident, he actually blew up a man's car after he learned that the guy was romantically interested in Miss Ventura, and we found out later that the guy was actually rapper Kid Cudi. Forced Miss Ventura to engage in sex acts with male sex workers while masturbating and filming the encounters. Ran out of his apartment. She ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rival industry. Oh, he ran out of his apartment with firearms in pursuit of a rival industry executive whom he learned was nearby. We did learn once you read through this lawsuit that industry executive was none other than the infamous Suge Knight. On another occasion, it was said that Mr. Combs demanded that Miss Ventura carry his firearm in her purse, just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is. Of course, that's that control factor. Um, and introduced Miss Ventura to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse, and required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addictions. So, if you have had the opportunity to go through this 35 page document, she definitely revealed a lot of things in here, which we may touch on during this discussion. However, after 24 hours after this was made public, um, Diddy ended up settling with Miss Ventura. I guess he wanted to quickly make this go away because I'm sure he knew that there was gonna be a lot of ramifications that was gonna come afterwards, and at this point, it seems as though his you know, he should have just done and over with, and then we will talk about, whether or not we think that he could possibly make a comeback, ever since this whole situation has transpired and is damaging his personal and business reputation. But in 24 hours, he did settle with her. Some people say because she initially asked for 30 million, he may have settled with her maybe somewhere between 50 and 100 million. We don't know for sure. No one knows. But shit, we know that Cassie now, has the money, and she can, use that money, utilize it any way that she sees fit for her and her family. So, when you first heard of this news, and this lawsuit, like, what was your thoughts, Wendy?
I had been oblivious to the prior allegations through the years. Now we see different interviews with former artists and former love interests about his abusive tendencies, but I was oblivious to it. So I was in disbelief,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because when I think of Puffy, I think of dancing, right? I think of like just someone that is full of life and dancing and happy. Because usually people who dance a lot are happy people.
Right.
And I could not grasp the concept that he could be a violent, abusive man. So I was surprised. A lot of people weren't surprised. It was just my perception of him.
Mm-hmm.
I could not see it. I could not see him being just violent, and especially since the whole love movement, which I'm sure we'll get into as we go along the timeline.
Right.
But yeah, especially with the love movement, whether it had been he changed his who he is because of the death of Kim, which has its own controversy. I was in disbelief. How about you?
I would say that I was definitely caught off guard with the extent of the abuse allegations.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was kind of caught off guard. Now, through the years, and me being, you yourself as well, being a big fan of the hip hop genre, we've heard stories of him slapping Drake in Miami outside of Live, nightclub, and we've heard of
Yeah.
him having an episode with J Cole in the club in L.A. over some crazy shit. So we have heard of him, take kind of taking it to the extreme and being aggressive to other people.
Mm-hmm.
However, um, however, I don't think none of us just really thought of it to that extent. Okay, he may slap a few guys, but like, would he really put his hands to this extent on one, a female that he's, mad, so called madly in love with? Yeah,
and
that
and
I was
and
definitely
and,
caught off guard with that.
and running out of the house with guns like he's going to shoot somebody.
Right.
Puffy? It's just I can't. I,
You
I
can't see
can't.
it.
Yeah, no, but I believe it.
Hmm.
I do believe her, and I'm not one to jump on bandwagons. But
Right.
this is her career, her family, her reputation.
Hmm.
I don't think that risking and being brave enough to come out with these type of allegations would be live, and
Right.
implementing other people. How she named other people who were there, and thankfully those people have agreed with her stories and have validated her allegations.
Right, right. Yeah, I'm glad that she did name some other people because, that's the thing. A lot of people were around, He had a whole staff of people working, whether it was security with Roger Bonds or whether it was Capricorn, who was his former assistant for many years. And yeah, it is definitely good to see that um, those people kind of subliminally, except for Roger Barnes, but I know Capricorn has been saying some stuff on her social media, but she's kind of speaking around it a little bit, coming out with it, but then just kind of speaking around it a little bit. And seems as though she kind of has some disdain for Cassie a little. But yeah. So yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, am I surprised though? No, be-
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
so many times we hear of people and shit. Nowadays, we see it every day on the news where we hear of men or couples. And I won't just put it on men, but we hear of situations where people are just very abusive, or they may have killed their significant other. You know what I'm saying? Over some
Mhm.
bullshit. So it's like people tend to, from a mental standpoint, have their moments when they just kind of snapped and they become someone else. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
definitely they could go from a good, kind, you know, righteous person to becoming someone very mean and evil. So we tend to see that, we see that a lot. So yeah, I'm not really surprised at him having two sides, essentially, to who he is.
Mhm.
Now, um, I guess before we get a little deep into like the mental health and drug abuse aspect of it as well, um, I would say this. Ultimately, although he says that just because he's settled, doesn't, mean that these things are true, that Miss Ventura laid out in her lawsuit. um However, many people, it's not we all I'm sure a lot of people think this, hey, it's just not far-fetched. These things
Right.
could have possibly happened. um but some of it was just so awful. Like, it was so awful, and I'm kind of glad that it was kind of laid out the way that it was, and details were provided. You know what I'm saying? Because it was said that she was trying to kind of write a book. Cassie ain't really, from what we can see, outside of probably some modeling gigs here or there. But as far as like her music career, she don't really put out music. So I'm sure she was just definitely needed to, you know, make some money, have an income coming in. She has two kids. She's married. She needs money, you know what I'm saying? And one of the ways I
Mhm.
guess she was going to attempt to do that was write a book, right? Kind of like her own life story type of tell-all book. And they say that Diddy didn't necessarily want that to come out. You know what I'm saying? So he
Mhm.
prevented her from
Mhm.
doing that. So the best next thing was, shit, you try to call my bluff, dude. Look, I need to survive. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna file this lawsuit. Um, and
This is your theory on how you think it went.
not necessarily on how it went per se.
As far as how she got to the point when she released it,
Right,
when she
right.
okay got the
Decided to
courage
just
to.
take this route. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
the details that was in this damn lawsuit, you could tell it was book ready. You know what I mean? This type of
Right.
shit. The book would have been flying off the shelves, child. If it would have,
Mhm.
came to fruition. But yeah, I just think that what better way? Let's lay it out in this lawsuit. It's gonna be public. The people are gonna be able to read it and understand the depth of what this
The
relationship was
treatment she
about, the
suffered.
truth,
Yes.
right? Everything
Yes.
that I suffered, the bruises, the control, the drug
Well,
abuse, and
well,
all of
well. Let's
that.
even taking it one step further with all of the videos that have surfaced
Hmm.
since the release of, she filed the lawsuit. That one video that he posted on Snapchat when she was balled up on the floor in the fetal position under the covers,
Yeah.
that told it all. That told it all, because I think at the beginning of the video he was like, "What and what? Now what you gonna do?"
Hmm.
That was just the just a little crumble, I'm sure, of what she had experienced. From that video alone, you can see the other side of him.
Right.
You can absolutely see the other side of him. And who would have known that people were recording Snapchats back then? Because Snapchats were temporary, right? So he
Right.
must have
Like
really been
whoever
in his
saved that
bag.
shit.
He was in his bag, right? Diddy was
uh.
in his bag, feeling himself, not
Hmm.
thinking about the repercussions,
Yeah.
not thinking about although Snapchat videos are temporary, somebody may you th- that video told it all about his ego and about how he has been getting away with this. Can you
Hmm.
imagine being her and be, you're all you he met her when she was 19. She was a baby. And I don't know if you read about like a lot of the things she went through in the music career, but
Hmm.
she had an extreme case of stage fright.
Hmm.
So not only was she young and easy to manipulate and vulnerable, she wasn't even cut out for that world.
Right.
She had stage fright.
Hmm.
So I don't think her music career ended because of him. I think a lot of it had to do with her own mental health issues, as far as whatever it may have been, anxiety or whatever that crippled her when it was time for her to perform. And she probably does better with the little small modeling gigs that she does because it's not in front of a crowd of people.
Yeah, but I mean, most artists have stage fright issues, and that's why they do end up probably, drinking a little bit or, doing whatever
Well,
drugs to
I
help
read
ease them.
specifically hers was crippling.
Hmm.
Hers was not, because she got a lot of criticism in the public eye because of her performances, and that prompted her to open up about how bad her stage fright was.
But
And then
I'm
you got to be
saying it ain't
careful.
that bad to the point where her shit, she still could have went. It's like a whole what's her name, Summer Walker, who has, she's eventually, now she's gotten better on the stage. I don't think that stopped her career. It was the fact that she was signed to Bad Boy. He had a grip on her that way from the business standpoint, and that's another reason why I'm very appreciative that she added those companies to the loss. She sued the companies as well, his companies, because look,
Hmm.
dude, not only are you my boss, you my man, you controlling, and you have stopped my bag. You've controlled every
Hmm.
aspect of my life for these many years. They say, well, it was rumored that he signed her. She had like a 10 album deal. That's insane.
Right.
That's insane.
Right.
So if you being caught up, I'm sure with this lawsuit as well, they probably worked out to where she is no longer, under bad boy or whatever. Um, because that's
Was she
that's
still
that's
under them?
insane. That's
Was
insane.
she still?
Yeah,
She
he
was still
would
tied
never
to
let
them
her
right
go.
now.
I'm saying not anymore. I'm sure with this whole lawsuit situation, because one thing that
But you.
her press release said
Mhm.
after she settled was that now I have some form of control over my life. I'm sure that music was part of that too. So I'm sure she is now released from whatever
Listen,
contractual agreements that they had in
because
place for her
I
music.
don't know what outlet I was reading, what news platform, but I saw something that I thought said that she had already broken top when they broke up in 2017 or 2018,
Mhm.
and then soon after she severed ties as far as her music career
Mhm.
was concerned. But who knows?
But yeah,
But
who
yeah,
knows?
just being under that control, it's really sad, and sad that because of the money and the power
Mhm.
that nobody said anything.
Right. Right. It is awful that nobody said anything. And just looking at the situations where like you said now, people who were around during that time, and hell, it's a lot more people that ain't speaking up though. That's real quiet, that worked for Bad Boy during that time. It was close to Diddy. I don't know. Well, he probably have these ironclad NDA, non-disclosure agreements that anybody that works for him has to sign. Um, However, it is good to see the few people that is kind of throwing little hints out there. You have Aubrey O'Day, who was part of making the band.
Well,
She's
she
been
didn't
kind of
sign
speaking out.
one. She didn't sign one, so I don't think he was smart enough to get NDAs early in his career, right? And I think that, for example, his head of security, if anybody would have had an
Well, yeah,
NDA, he would have,
yeah.
right? So I think that those who have not spoken up, who don't have an NDA, it's a lot being famous and being involved in that world.
Hmm.
And it takes a lot of bravery and courage, like we spoke about the victims, right? But at the same time, do you want that heat? Like it's already out there, you know. The head of security, he's co-signed it. Other people are co-signing and dropping, little gems and things that people can pick up.
Right.
But for those that haven't spoken out, these people have families. These people have moved on with their lives. If who wants to speak up now? And I don't mean victims. I mean people that were around during those times, friends, family who watched the domestic violence happen.
But here's
Who
the
want that
thing.
heat?
Here's the thing. If this becomes a situation where he's being charged for this, because I don't know, I don't know the statute of limitations on, the certain things that he did, crimes against Cassie. But if this becomes a charge, say for instance, what if the feds decide to put some charges on him, then they're gonna summon all of these people that was working with Bad Boy and around Diddy during that time frame, and then they're gonna have to give depositions as well. So from a social, I guess from a social media or just media in general standpoint, yeah, I can see why some of the people are not coming forth. However, like I said, if any charges arise from this whole situation, because usually this is how it starts off.
The civil case,
They
yeah.
start off the civil lawsuits first, and then it becomes something else much bigger. You know what I mean? Like look at the Bill Cosby situation, the Harvey Weinstein situation, the R. Kelly situation. So there is a
This is where it
possibility that
starts.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wish I knew the laws. I wasn't thinking about that. I would have done some research looking at the laws in New York
Mm-hmm.
and what's the chances of all of this turning into a criminal case. Now I
Right.
did look up when she left Bad Boy. So she left Bad Boy in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and that's more recent than you think, right? 2019. That was yesterday. That
Right.
wasn't far
Right. So
away.
he wouldn't letting her
Yeah,
put out no music
yeah, yeah,
all these
absolutely.
years.
I just wanted to be certain about the year. So yeah, she they ended their romance in October 2018, and then the next year she left Bad Boy. Hmm, that's a long time to be under a stronghold.
Right. Right. Now
Yeah.
let's talk about let's get into just the whole mental health aspect um of this whole situation. So I did want to touch on that. Um Not necessarily about just how you kind of come from this type of situation, because honestly, it's traumatic on both sides. If you think about it, who's to say Diddy's actions, although they are not, we not, waiving his actions at all because they were bad. If this is all true, um, but who's to say he didn't have some type of traumatic upbringing, in some sense, um, to which, just kind of make him turn into this other person? Or do we believe that him becoming this aggressive, mean spirited human being just kind of all derives from maybe the alcohol and drug abuse
And the money and the power.
and the money and the power? Yep.
So first you said, how do you come back from this? Were you speaking of the victims or are you speaking of him?
I'm speaking of him and her. I'm speaking of both of, yeah, him, just him and her, or people who are in that similar situation.
Well, for him, you already know you have to acknowledge that you have a problem. You can't work on a problem if you don't know you have a problem, right? And the world could say he has a problem, but if he doesn't acknowledge it and have the desire to change, and maybe that's what this whole love movement was about, right? Maybe this whole love movement was about him changing his ways
Mm-hmm.
after Kim died, because that's when the love movement started after Kim died.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was thinking about that before we started. And I thought about all of the celebrities that have dealt with a sexual type scandal,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They go away. They don't come back. Harvey Weinstein. What's the actor's name? That was in The Usual Suspects.
Who?
With the bald head. I have to look him up. Kevin Spacey.
Oh yeah.
Kevin Spacey. Who else? Weinstein, Spacey. But most people in entertainment in the public eye, if they have some type of sexual scandal, they just go away. They just go away. You're already wealthy, and who's gonna hire you?
Right.
You know, he's been in the business for what, 30 years now, 30 plus years, because he's 54. He probably just have to ride the second part of his life
Just
out,
go early
just
retirement,
being a dad. Yeah, being a dad and going to therapy if he even wanted.
or
Luckily, he not R. Kelly.
hit the road like what's his name, Russell Simmons. Be
But
hiding
Russell
out in
Simmons,
Bali.
but see, and Russell Simmons already has a connection to Bali, right? Russell Simmons has been into Buddhism and meditation and Indian culture and religion for years. So Russell Simmons at home. You
Mhm.
get what I'm saying? He's in India, but he's at home. Where Puffy going? No other country puts up with that. Yeah. You better just live out the rest of his
Unless he
life.
got his own private island that we don't know about, and
And we already know he need the social engagement, right? He
he'll
need
have
the
parties
he need
parties on
people,
the island
right?
every weekend.
Yeah. Gay parties on the island, which nothing is wrong with, but it's okay with coming out and instead of having everyone just call you out, right?
Right, and that's the
Or
other
whatever his
layer to
sexual
this.
preference
Right,
is.
that's the other layer to this as well, which probably have some type of impact, you know, impact on him mentally. Also, just kind of not necessarily fighting this other side of him, but just coming to grips with it. You know what I'm saying?
It would have been nice if I had this thought about him and this fantasy that maybe when he went through this love movement, and if this love movement was supposed to be like his repentance, because we've all done wrong, right? But have you asked for forgiveness? And are you walking in that way, right? Like you ask for forgiveness and then you walk the walk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you do what you do to right your wrongs, right? Why didn't he go to each of these people, you know, and say, "Hey, I know that I haven't been the best person. I'm trying to change my life." He go 100 million. I'm just saying whatever, amount. Here's this, and that's on the NDA, and I'm sorry. I want to right my wrongs, and I just want you to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he chose to just keep moving forward like nothing had ever happened,
Right.
as though he don't have all of these skeletons in his closet. Not saying that skeletons are bad. Everybody has secrets. But like you hurt people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know how he can come back from
That's a
this.
lot to repent for, but you know, our God is a forgiving God at the end of the day though.
He is, but that's what I'm saying. Like you suppose you reap what you sow, blah blah blah, and then you ask for repentance because we're all sinners. But then you walk in that path, right? Like you walk in the path of forgiveness and you forgive others and you
Mm-hmm.
right your wrongs. I guess that's him giving the money to the HBCUs and opening up the preparatory school, and he's done a lot in the community. That's what I was thinking. Like, was those philanthropic type,
Philanthropic.
philanthropic,
Mm-hmm.
philanthropic, or philanthropy work, right? Was his philanthropy work his way of repenting? I don't think so.
Or
Not
they
when you
could have,
beat me
of
up.
course, it could serve two purposes. It could have been his way of repenting as well as part of the cover up, part of making sure that his um the bad boy representation, him as being this music mogul, businessman, reputation, all of that, still have a positive light shined upon it. So it
Not
could,
when you beat me up. Not when you beat me up and sent me to Hawaii for 5 weeks or
but we
however
didn't
long
know
just on
that
my
at the
face.
time. We didn't
I
know that
know,
at the
but
time of him giving Howard $1 million check.
I'm speaking up as the victim. So I every
Hmm.
time I look at the news, or I'm reading my news on my phone, or it's
Oh yeah,
something else great that you've done, right? And you just full of love, and your album named Love, and you got a baby named Love, and you just all about this. And just 5 years ago, you beat me to a pulp in front of 50 people and kicked me. Yeah,
yeah.
that's why, and I
Hello.
30 million, yeah, it might not be a lot, but I think it's about telling her truth and putting the truth out there. But not what you say you are. You are not just this vessel of love that's shining light
Right.
on
It was all
everybody.
smoke and mirrors. It was smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, it's so sad, man. Because there's something wrong with him. Hurt people hurt
Yeah,
people.
that's what I said. It has to be something. It
Yeah.
has to be something because who in their right mind? I just feel like any man, number one, who put their hand on a woman has a problem. Like something is
Mm.
wrong with that person, and vice versa.
Mhm.
If there's because women beat men as well. Women
Mhm.
who put their hands on men, you know, abusive to men, there is a problem with them, and they need to. These people need some form of help. They need therapy. They need, and I'm sure he probably got a therapist.
But are
But
you
we
being
never
honest?
know. He never know what they talk about though. But you know,
People have therapists all the time, and if you're going in there and you're not open-minded, you're not telling both sides of the story, and you're not being completely honest, you just going to a therapist because it's trendy to go to a therapist.
hmm
It's not doing anything for you.
right,
And especially people of power and authority and with a certain level of wealth, a lot of times they're just paying somebody to just listen to them. They don't even want you to help with their problems. They just
right.
want you
They
to hear
just
them
need to
talk.
vent. Yeah,
Yeah, and you can't give them no advice because they know everything.
yeah.
you know
That's a
you try
narcissist.
to give them some of, yeah, and they know it all. Hmm.
So, how do we feel about before we uh kind of close it out with what do we see for their futures? How do we feel about him, losing, these sponsorships and deals and things of that nature? Sean John was taken out of the Macy's. The charter school in New York is no longer, fooling with
we
him.
we feel like it's fair if they do others that way. He is no different. We
Yeah.
don't feel nothing. Take it, go sit down, enjoy your wealth, invest in your children, be a better person for them, and go on about your life.
hmm
They take, this is just a part of the process. When your secrets come to light, you know, you're left with nothing in the public eye.
Right. Yeah.
We don't want that. Who want their children going to his school? Who wearing Sean John? And then that's a fine line, right? Because then we try to, you and I've had these conversations about separating the artist from their talent, right? I still got a couple R. Kelly songs on my playlist. I cringe a little bit, but like then I belt out the chorus. you know?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but and now, and it's so sad, right? Because Diddy was our dude. Diddy was the dude for one of the people in our generation. Diddy, Total, Notorious Big, Mace, like that was our generation, right? Not the new kids. Diddy belonged to us, and now his music is tainted.
Yeah, it is tainted. It is his whole legacy is tainted. The
His
entire
legacy is
legacy is
tainted.
tainted. Like, damn,
Yeah.
dude, you fucked it up.
Now, and
You
that's
could have
another
just
good
you
question.
he could have just lived his bisexual life
Right.
without all the extra. Like without all the extra shit wasn't needed. You could pop your little ecstasy pills here and there. You know what I
The sexual
mean?
escapades is not a problem because we can't call out or judge someone for what they like sexually, right? If he's
You can't,
kinky,
but
and but
it
the
was still
violence,
abusive to her though.
the
So
violence,
it's
right? The
right.
violence, yeah,
That's the part
absolutely.
I'm talking about. Like all that extra shit, Cassie would have. I'm sure she would have kept doing the threesomes and but
Yeah, but did you have to drug her?
all the you have to drug her number one, which I just in general I've just never understood what men get out of that. But anyway, but yeah, it does all that extra shit wasn't needed. He could have still had his fun, still had his sexcapades, and enjoyed his life and still partied and did what they do. But all the additional control, it's like it's a weird stalkerish obsession. Like, yeah,
Hmm.
he's sick.
It's the control. He's sick. I think so. Yeah, he definitely has some obsessive compulsion.
Hmm.
Yeah,
For
sad. It's
real.
really sad.
It
It's
is
sad
sad.
that it took this to come out so that hopefully he can get some help. Because
Right.
we're gonna hope that he becomes a better person, right? I don't think he is a predator to an extent because he has daughters, but his sexual and violent
Appetite.
tendencies,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, are harmful to people.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's so sad because what are you telling your kids? Are you honest with them? Are you telling them that like she could not have written 35 pages of lies? You know,
Right.
that there is some truth in that? Like are you being absolutely honest?
Yeah, it has to be. And I think the crazy thing is I think she definitely left out some shit. I think she left out
Oh
some
yeah.
things that was probably way was more uh damaging to his cuz
To him.
to him.
Yes.
Like, I'm sure she probably wanted to say, yes, he told me to go look for large black penises online,
And he
and it was for
participated.
us. It was for me
Yes.
and him. She left that
Hmm.
out. You know what I'm
She
saying?
left
So
it
it's
out. She
like,
left it out.
I think she spared him, probably in some areas, you know?
And maybe that's why he settled early. See, that's what I'm saying. That's a different facets of it that people aren't considering. She
Mhm.
may have had more information. I'm sure she does. Is that's a given, right? That if you take too long, okay, we're gonna file another pleading.
Right,
They file another pleading. That's just a little bit more information.
right.
So he had to go ahead and settle it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, close this hour out. Well, we got like 10 more minutes. Um, do we believe that Diddy, we can start with him. Do we believe that he can come out of this? I know you mentioned him just maybe going away, staying out the public's eye, chilling, kind of going on retirement, take care of his family, his girl, especially the baby love. Um,
Baby love. Mm,
yeah,
mm, mm.
what do we suspect? You know,
I don't suspect nothing. I don't think he can come back from this. I think he may have his cult following, those people that will always
ride or
doubt the
die.
victim.
Hmm.
Yeah, but you know, you have that crowd that will always doubt the victim, no matter how much proof and evidence and receipts that the person has. They will always doubt the woman because they think it's just for money, right?
Right.
They won't look at the bigger picture. But I do not. I don't think he can come back from this. We just haven't seen it. We haven't seen it in our generation, in our lifetime. Somebody that have a huge sex scandal with receipts make a public comeback on top of him being a black man. I can't see it.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I can't
we
see that.
haven't had many incidents though to this degree though that come out as far as like black culture celebrities go. Um,
But
Normally
that's
we see
exactly what
this
I
to the
mean.
white, in the white
Right.
culture.
So not only the allegation, but the cherry on top is him being an African American male.
Hmm.
That's why I don't see it coming back. Mm-mm. I don't even see another album. He just better ride this wave. Yeah, ride
What
the wave of
way?
love, love, because it was the album Love because it was nominated for a Grammy.
Oh wow! And
Yeah,
I think
he
they
just
still gonna invite him. I know they were saying how some celebrities do not want to. They was working on seat placements, and they were saying people don't want to sit by him. That's fucked
You
up.
know, I wonder. Before we close, I just got to put this out there because this is where our mind goes. Because like we said earlier, this is our generation. I wonder what Mary J. Blige is saying. I wonder what she know because she was in it. Remember? She was in it. She was from the beginning, so she know him. If nobody don't know him, Mary J and Lil Kim know him.
Hmm.
Mm,
Shoot,
mm,
I
mm,
saw a
mm.
video. I saw a video the other day of what's his name? What was his name? The singing guy that was with Death Row Records. Oh my God.
Oh, not Nate Dogg.
Not Nate Dogg, the other guy who used to sing, but he was telling a story about when he was like 15, 16 years old. He remember, I think he was either flying to New York or whatever, wherever they was somewhere. And then Mary, he said Mary was sitting on the couch and she was trying to kind of groom him. I was
What does that
like,
mean?
what?
What was she doing to
Dang, I
him?
can't think of the guy's name. Start with a D. Um, D, and he came out a couple years ago. I believe he came out as bisexual or whatever.
Oh, Danny Boy.
Danny Boy, yes, 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 yes. I just saw that on YouTube the other day. He was
Oh,
telling this
please.
story
What
about
Danny Boy talk
Mary.
about?
I was like, shit, I probably could. You know, I'm one of those people that I don't put shit past nobody. So
Mm, mm, mm.
I can see that possibly happening. You know,
Well, she was young and on coke. Remember?
right?
So who know? That's what I'm saying. This is when they were in the thick of it.
Hmm.
So and they know him. I wonder. I just wonder what they know. I
Yeah,
wonder what they've
they probably
seen.
know so much shit.
Yeah, yeah,
But I don't think they, yeah, I don't think they would ever speak out against Diddy. Not
yeah.
them,
Me
not
either.
Kim and Mary. No,
Mm-mm. They way too G for that.
right, right,
Mm, 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 mm.
and believe in loyalty and
Even if, because I'm sure they saw some beat downs.
tuh, they was getting beat down.
Mm, 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 mm.
But yeah, as far as Cassie, I'm sure she's gonna be maybe laying low, you know, for some
I think she
time.
just ride out, just live the rest of her life. She was laying low anyway. She wasn't doing
Well, yeah,
nothing
she's
that
never
we could
really been
see.
that type to be out there anyway. So yeah, this is just kind of be her same routine. But I'm sure if it is other things as far as career wise, maybe we'll see her drop an album now. She has money, a little budget to work with, and yeah, and take care of her kids.
Yeah, yeah,
But I wouldn't definitely
yeah.
want to. I'm sure she probably wouldn't step out on the scene now unless she probably has security and shit like that. Cause I know
The
she
only
probably
thing I
looking
can
over
see
her
her
shoulder.
doing is throwing herself into advocacy for
Hmm.
domestic violence victims. I can
Yeah.
see that happening because she's young, and
Hmm.
she has a daughter. I don't know if her baby was a girl, but her oldest I know is a daughter.
Hmm.
So yeah, I can see her throwing herself into that arena and creating a platform for women who are victims.
Right. Yeah. But as far as Puff Daddy, Diddy goes, it's definitely unfortunate. He clearly has some demons that he need to be getting working on and getting rid of them you know so that he can live out the rest of his life um as positive as he possibly can and with his kids. And yeah, if it just means that, hey, I gotta sit down for 2-3 years out of the spotlight, you know what I mean, nobody need to hear from me. If that's what he needs to do, then do it. I know it's gonna, like I said, he's somewhat of a narcissist, so I don't know how he'll be able to do that. But at least maybe he could just live vicariously through his kids, from this point on.
Right,
Watch them
right.
grow up and become. And then that's another thing when you think of like people who do this and you think of their families. Even though like Russell Simmons, at least his girls are able to still kind of thrive on their own. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
Hollywood, of course, is a weird place. So it's like the kids should still be able to, not have people side eyeing them, and just how all that
I
extra
hope
shit
they
just
don't go
come.
through that.
Yeah, I hope so either, because it's not their
But
fault.
it comes, child. They gonna get it. I hope
Hmm.
they build. I hope they have some thick skin because it just. We can hope not, but we know how the internet is.
Right.
They're
Yeah, I
gonna
just
tear
hope
those
it don't
four
have
kids
no
apart.
impact, no negative impact on any whatever career path that they decide to go in. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
Like let them still prosper, in their own lives. Yeah, daddy fucked up,
Right.
but you know.
Yes, he is.
Hmm. All righty. Well, we didn't go. I don't think we didn't dog the man out.
I don't think so. No, we did good.
Yeah, I think we definitely did some.
We just talked about the facts,
Yeah,
gave our opinion.
constructive. Definitely
Mhm.
constructive conversation. But, you know, thank you to everybody who was able to tune in. Definitely don't forget to share this episode with family and friends, colleagues, whoever. We appreciate it. We're on all streaming platforms, as well as YouTube. You can check out each episode on YouTube also. Thank you always for tuning in. Thank you for joining me today, Miss Wendy.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
And until next time, you guys, peace out.